The creator, who collaborated with Beyonce, aspires to create a metaverse that your grandma can understand. Consider a personalized online environment in which a user's Instagram images are shown in a museum collection and their favorite songs are played in a virtual club open to the public. Then consider the possibility of selling items inspired by your personalized universe. That is the goal of a new firm called Orgy, to allow everyone to establish their own metaverse. We're attempting to develop a metaverse that your grandmother can comprehend, Sydney Swift, founder and creator of Orgy, told Yahoo Finance in an interview. According to the music producer turned technology guru, each person already has their own digital world that spans multiple platforms on the internet. He is enabling anyone to construct their own metaverse by consolidating their online presence, dragging and dropping all their Instagram photos, preferred Spotify songs, and YouTube videos into one location, thereby establishing their own digital universe. It's hyper-focused on their own identity and then enables them to monetize that digital identity, Swift explained. Swift is pitching Orgy to appeal to both newcomers and seasoned cryptocurrency users. Users are not required to have a crypto wallet. And as more individuals gain familiarity with crypto, Orgy will assist them in ascending to higher realms of the metaverse. Platform users possess their own metaverse in the form of a non-fungible token, NFT, which they may buy and sell. Users can export their metaverse to Facebook, build digital games on the platform, and license them to PlayStation or even to Pixar. According to the designer, NFTs will explode in popularity by 2022, and their applications in music are only getting started. We haven't even scratched the surface of how an NFT can be used to promote not only a song, but also lyrics, melody, behind-the-scenes film, and an artist's entire album and brand, he explained. Swift anticipates including fans in the songwriting process by launching an NFT campaign with an artist in which fans can purchase 10,000 NFTs and then vote on the artist's songwriting and production. We're going to see a significant increase in the number of people who own equity in music, Swift predicts. By 2027, I believe that 90% of individuals will have crypto wallets and NFTs. Swift, a music producer who previously collaborated with Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, among others, came up with the idea for a personalized metaverse in 2017, while experimenting with ways to increase artist connection with fans. I noticed a lot of wasted chances for fan conversion in the music industry, especially as Spotify and streaming became more of a passive audience experience than an engaged audience experience, Swift told Yahoo Finance. He invented and patented a method for a music video to trigger a mobile game, allowing the user to interact with the song-turned-game. Bad guys may fly into the player's room and be shot down via augmented reality, he explained. We discovered that secondary experiences generated 5 times the quantity of streams and that people continued to play the game, he explained. This enabled us to pursue a revenue model that was quite distinct from that of traditional media. Orgy is now an invite-only site as it conducts beta testing with musicians such as Lil Dicky, influencers, and companies such as Herschel Bags over the next few months. However, it intends to eventually offer it up to anyone who want to sign up for free. Orgy intends to charge a tiny fee on all NFTs made with the help of its metaverse creator. Users have the ability to determine their own royalty rates for their metaverses, games, and experiences. Swift stated that a few eateries are already utilizing Orgy, giving augmented reality menus and NFT membership. On Orgy, artists are tying games to their songs and offering NFTs that are only accessible while watching their video or listening to their music in their metaverse. We're giving artists the opportunity to create a highly curated, customized experience for folks who are at the peak of their attention span, Swift explained. In this sense, the metaverse enables artists to sell themselves and monetize their work in whole new ways. By identifying the audience and then guiding them through a succession of campaigns, we can provide them with the experiences they desire and encourage them to purchase the artist's songs, he added. Finally, Swift outlined the following scenario for the metaverse's future development. At its most basic level, a television commercial might be playing and your phone would know which commercials you are watching. The commercial's producer may then send a discount code to your phone, which you could use to purchase things at that retailer. Swift sees being able to enter a company's metaverse and purchase products while trying on digital clothing or taking virtual tours of various spots in Paris using that discount code. You can then incorporate all of the opportunistic, digital experiences that I believe a lot of businesses are missing out on because they lack the infrastructure of a technology company to facilitate all of that bandwidth, he explained to Yahoo Finance. Swift envisions users being able to sell their own products and make secondary sales by promoting their favorite items. It's a means of monetizing and creating an experience for everybody who interacts with you and your own brand on the internet, he continued. Everyone should have their own metaverse and the ability to commercialize it. Swift, though, does not envision Augie competing with Facebook's much-anticipated metaverse. He believes that numerous metaverses will exist and that all information will be decentralized. Swift is skeptical that Facebook will seek a centralized metaverse and amass massive amounts of data, which might spark public outcry. He recommended that the company could focus on being a hardware company that provides the experience of augmented reality glasses and positioning itself as the go-to shop for purchasing a hardware required to operate in the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, is investing extensively in the metaverse and intends to recruit 1 billion people within the next 10 years by luring users away from the company's existing Facebook environment, which he hopes to harness for digital commerce. The internet is down, and the IT department is distant. Web 3 appears to be on a par with Web 2. Numerous investors remain skeptical. Web 3: the contradiction between dreams and reality. It's difficult to give up a dream. It becomes even more difficult when it is based on billions of dollars. This week, the tech industry was divided over the prospect of Web 3, a decentralized version of the internet anchored by digital money that proponents hope could eventually supplant the present, corporate-dominated Web 2. You rarely see nerds dispute on social media with such religious zeal as when the subject is web architecture. On the Web 3 side are proponents of blockchain and non-volatile memory, who believe the internet should be rebuilt in ways that redistribute power away from corporate giants like Alphabet Incorporated and Meta Platforms Incorporated to individual users. This frequently results in Web 2 members saying, "That sounds nice, but it's just like communism, it won't function in practice and will destroy a lot of hard-earned riches in a crash." Web 3 proponents assert that the Web 2 forces are merely fearful. The Web 2 camp responds. Moxie Marlinspike, the dreadlocked sailor and cryptographic hero who developed the encryption technology that powers Facebook Messenger years ago, stepped into this issue. Marlinspike is the only one who truly knows crypto's basics. Marlinspike attempted to construct a few Web 3 applications on his own, but discovered that none of them provided access to the blockchain. The gatekeepers were applications such as wallets and marketplaces. He detailed many examples in a blog post of how power has already centralized among a few early enterprises, much as it happened with Web 2. Marlinspike was naive, the Web3 folks asserted. This is similar to how people felt about the mobile internet before it surpassed PCs, stated a venture capitalist with Web3. Chris Dixon, co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz, retweeted him. Andreessen Horowitz recently raised $2.2 billion for a new cryptocurrency fund. The figures increase in magnitude. According to Chainalysis, investors will invest over $27 billion in NFTs in 2021. And it is estimated that the combined worth of all cryptocurrencies is about $2 trillion. Investing versus labor. There are few more reliable sources of cognitive dissonance than investors' reaction to positive economic news as if it were a nuclear calamity. For example, for more than a decade, stagnating wages have been the misery of the US economy. However, with salaries increasing, markets are left with only corporate profits and the possibility of inflation to worry about. According to John Authors, there is reason to be concerned. For the majority of workers, inflation has recently exceeded wage growth. They may use their newly acquired, and much welcomed, bargaining leverage to demand additional salary increases, resulting in price increases from businesses. Recreate the 1970s by rinsing and repeating. Inequality redress. The lowest paid employees receive far larger raises than the highest compensated employees. Investors, on the other hand, are not amused by such sentimentality. They even pounded the stocks of major US banks today after those institutions reported giving raises to discourage bankers from fleeing to GameStop, crypto, or whatever, Paul J. Davis writes. Today, Jamie Dimon stated that firms should not be crybabies when it comes to pay increases. Right he is. Additionally, investors may choose to refrain from grumbling as long as inflation can be contained. Omicron versus China. In the realm of difficult to contain entities, there is the Omicron variation. Even China, which has so far averted the pandemic by engaging in the world's most severe game of whack-a-mole, is struggling. And, as Adam Minter argues, the Chinese public is becoming tired of the country's strict lockdown restrictions. They're even complaining on social media about it, which Beijing, unexpectedly, allows. The entire world should hope that China can find a reasonable compromise between protecting its citizens and operating its railroads, factories, and container ships on time. According to David Fickling and Anjani Trivedi, Chinese industry output has fared relatively well so far during the pandemic. If something changes, the supply chain nightmares of the last few years may begin to resemble children's birthday celebrations. Charts that speak for yourselves. According to Brooks Sutherland, America's industrial sector is beginning to search inside for answers to supply chain bottlenecks. They have recently improved, but at a pace and predictability that is unsettling. According to Bloomberg's editorial board, Sarah Bloom Raskin is an excellent choice to restore the Federal Reserve's bank oversight to its former glory after years of slacking. Financial system fragmentation. Recent years have seen a dramatic fall in loss-absorbing capital. Why could the 1-inch cryptocurrency attract some notable attention? The circulating quantity of the 1-inch cryptocurrency token just surpassed the 500 million level. As such, it should come as no surprise that the token's value decreased slightly during this process. After all, a rapid increase in supply that outpaces demand will result in lower pricing. Having said that, the timing of the additional 1-inch crypto tokens being unlocked seemed quite coincidental. Recently, the cryptocurrency markets have not been particularly hot. As a result, its brief decline in value was largely consistent with the rest of the market. Additionally, it's worth emphasizing that this is not necessarily terrible news for holders over the long run. The vast majority of these tokens were sold last December to institutional investors. And in the process, the 1inch charity raised $175 million. That's good news for the 1inch network and the decentralized aggregate exchange it runs, which has grown in popularity in recent years. Any exchange is only as good as the products and services it offers. Additionally, an additional $175 million in funding could aid in the development of significant new technologies. Even though the exchange appears to have remained relatively unchanged following the current round of funding, usage of the 1inch decentralized application has increased dramatically. And this is a good sign for the 1inch cryptocurrency token that powers it. The use case for the 1inch crypto token is increasing in utility. Prior to the $175 million Series B fundraising round for 1inch Network, the company was approaching 1 million Ethereum users. And it had been accessed by 195,000 people in the preceding 30 days. It has since surpassed the 1 million user mark. Even more astounding is the fact that it has expanded to over 779,000 users in the last 30 days. That is a remarkable rate of expansion. And, given that the 1inch crypto token serves as both the governance and utility token for the 1inch network, this type of expansion might have a significant impact on its value. Even more so if the $175 million raised is wisely spent. The cash will be used to assist traditional financial institutions in gaining access to decentralized finance, according to a press statement, DeFi. Additionally, the 1inch team will update the 1inch crypto coin with new protocols and services. Nearly usually, growth is beneficial. However, this is especially true when a project successfully attracts dozens of additional investors. This is particularly true when some of those investors include Jane Street, Van Eck, Celsius, and Gemini Frontier Fund. While 1inch Network will continue to satisfy its existing DeFi audience with cutting-edge solutions, the company also intends to serve as a gateway for institutions interested in entering the DeFi field, 1inch Network co-founder Sergey Kuntz said in a press release. He continued, observing, "The next $1 trillion in DeFi assets will come from institutions rather than retail consumers, and 1inch wishes to facilitate their admission," he continues. "We have already begun work in that direction by drawing some significant players from traditional finance markets, and this partnership will only intensify in the next years." Achieving parity of opportunity. The 1inch Network's mission is to make liquidity available to investors across a variety of protocols and blockchains. And, as evidenced by its D-app, it has succeeded. Constructing routes that connect disparate liquidity pools has the potential to simplify access to the crypto plethora of assets. Additionally, the process can result in cost savings. Certain investors may object to the idea of a protocol that makes investing easier for institutional and retail investors alike. However, more exposure will almost certainly benefit investors of all shades. Bitcoin is no longer a hidden society. It is clearly visible. Cryptocurrency hedge funds have been popular in recent years. Crypto.com offers a Visa card that enables users to stake their native cryptocurrency, CRO. The Federal Reserve has stated that they do not pose a threat to financial stability. Citadel Securities, a meme stock target, appears to be jumping into the crypto war at the moment. This despite the fact that the company's CEO has characterized so-called crypto mania as a jihadist call to arms against the currency. However, it's difficult to ignore the torrent of possibilities that is the crypto world. Even for a billionaire, this is an insurmountable obstacle. All of this points to a very bright future for both the 1-inch cryptocurrency token and the network that it supports. Who is to predict how high it could rise if it becomes the de facto entry point for institutional investors into the cryptoverse? 1inch has risen to become one of the most popular decentralized exchanges in the last month. Some sources place it second only to Uniswap. Partnerships established by 1inch undoubtedly contributed to some of that growth. However, this is almost certainly not the entire story. The 1inch cryptocurrency bottom line. You could do much worse than following the money when it comes to reporting and investing. Furthermore, there is proof that a substantial amount of money is passing through the 1inch network pipeline. And it's not difficult to envisage that a portion of that money being channeled to the 1inch cryptocurrency token as well. As a governance token, holders will have a voice in determining the existing and future protocols for the 1inch network. And that may be an advantageous seat for people who will use it the most. Is a 1inch cryptographic header excessive? That is a question we will leave to the bombastic YouTubers and Twitter feeds. As a result, we'll remain more rational and suggest that 1inch crypto may prove to be a profitable investment. However, from our vantage point, this is dependent on two significant aspects. To begin, we hope to see the exchange add a growing number of networks over time. 2, we'd look for additional evidence that institutional capital is flowing through the 1inch network. However, by the time such proof is discovered, the 1inch cryptocurrency token is unlikely to be trading for less than $2.50. When the chips are down, Shiba Inu does not have the utility to hang. Shiba Inu lacks the fundamentals required to thrive in today's challenging crypto market. Shiba Inu was a notable performer in the cryptocurrency space last year. Despite struggling in recent months, Shiba Inu is up more than 47 million%. Though it struggled with consumer adoption in the beginning, it appears to be building utility for a more stable growth runway in the future. However, when SHIB recovers, its sporadic use cases will have little impact. In October of last year, Shiba Inu quickly became a popular meme token. If you had invested a smidgen in Shiba Inu last year, you would now have a fortune on your hands. However, the coin, like the rest of the crypto market, has struggled to gain traction. For the foreseeable future, speculation will drive the price of SHIB. Despite the efforts of its developers, its fluctuating price makes it difficult for businesses to adopt it. With such turbulent times in the crypto space, it is preferable to place your bets on assets with strong fundamentals. Is there enough usefulness? Shiba Inus were once considered a speculative fad. Recent developments indicate that its developers are becoming more serious about creating a stable crypto pathway. The Flexer payment network added Shiba Inu as a payment option for its merchants last month. The payment network is used by some of the world's largest corporations, which appears to be a significant step forwards for cryptocurrency. Furthermore, the Shiba Swap exchange debuted in July. The exchange increases SHIB liquidity and allows users to earn recurring income by staking their tokens. It also compels investors to hold onto the cryptocurrency for a significantly longer period of time. In addition, companies like Ask the Doctor and AMC Entertainment have jumped on the Shiba Inu bandwagon. However, due to its extreme volatility, cryptocurrency is unlikely to gain widespread acceptance as a payment method. Merchants want predictability, which is impossible to find with such an asset. Furthermore, Shiba Inu's founder Ryoshi recently discussed the creation of a metaverse, with SHIB serving as a major facilitator. Despite the fact that Shiba Inu has a few more use cases than before, it's difficult to see how they could help stabilize the currency. With the price movement in the crypto sector, it's difficult to get excited about such an asset. Keeping it together in a bear market. Bitcoin's BTC bear run has crippled the cryptocurrency market, wiping out billions of dollars in recent weeks. In the last few months, the industry heavyweight has lost more than 30% of its value. With the market in turmoil, meme coins such as Shiba Inu are plummeting, raising concerns about their ability to withstand the bear market. To be fair, even the most fundamentally sound cryptos have taken a beating in recent months. When the chips are down, you don't want to bet on cryptos like Shiba Inu. These speculative cryptocurrencies can lose a significant amount of value in a short period of time. Though Shiba Inu has gained a lot of utility recently, it is still insufficient to move the needle in a meaningful way. Furthermore, when the bear market pressures are factored in, a few use cases here and there won't make much of a difference. The bottom line on Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu had a fantastic 2021, with its value skyrocketing to unfathomable heights. However, many of these gains have been eroded in recent months as the cryptocurrency market has shifted into bearish territory. In such difficult times, it's difficult for investors to place bets on speculative coins like SHIB. In 2021, North Korean cryptocurrency theft will total $400 million. North Korean cybercriminals escalated their illicit campaigns throughout 2021, frequently conducting cryptocurrency exchange hacks to siphon hot wallet funds, launder the gains, and cash out via decentralized exchanges. According to new data from the blockchain security firm Chainalysis, the regime's state-backed hackers stole nearly $400 million in crypto assets last year, affecting investment firms and centralized exchanges. According to the firm's new report, North Korean threat actors used phishing laws, code exploits, malware, and advanced social engineering to steal digital currencies from internet-connected hot wallets and route them to addresses controlled by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Chainalysis claims that once the tokens were in their possession, they began a careful laundering process to cover up and cash out. The firm warns that much of the activity was likely carried out by APT-38, also known as the Lazarus Group, which is linked to North Korea's primary intelligence agency, the Reconnaissance General Bureau, which is sanctioned by the US and the UN. Mandiant's profile on APT-38, which has previously been linked to the Sony Pictures and WannaCry cyberattacks, notes that the group is a large, prolific operation with extensive resources and characterized by long planning and extended periods of access. Crimes that worked. North Korea-linked hackers have generally been successful in their activities for a variety of reasons, according to Erin Plant, Senior Director of Investigations at Chainalysis. She attributes the group's sophisticated infiltration techniques, which typically involve phishing and social engineering, methodical laundering involving mixers and decentralized exchanges, and the ability to cash out at Asia-based exchanges lacking rigid know-your-customer standards. Chainalysis cites an individual hack on the exchange KuCoin and another unnamed platform that netted more than $250 million as proof of the group's intent to focus on crypto crime. According to the blockchain firm, the United Nations Security Council has also warned that the revenue generated by the hack supports North Korea's weapons programs. Flow of funds. According to the researchers, the number of known North Korean-linked hacks increased from 4 to 7 between 2020 and 2021, and the value extracted from the hacks increased by 40%. They go on to say that Bitcoin now accounts for less than 1/4, 20%, of the tokens stolen by the regime. Ether accounted for the lion's share, accounting for 58% of the total. According to Chainalysis, the state-sponsored theft of various types of cryptocurrencies has also increased the complexity of the regime's laundering operation. The following is how the company documents the process. Ethereum request for Comment 20, or ERC20, tokens and altcoins are exchanged for Ether via a decentralized exchange, or DEX. Ether is mixed and then exchanged for Bitcoin via the DEX. Bitcoin is mixed and consolidated into new wallets. Bitcoin is then sent to deposit addresses at Asia-based crypto to fiat exchanges that serve as cash-out points. In addition, Chainalysis predicts a massive increase in North Korean hackers' use of mixers, software tools that pool and obfuscate tokens from thousands of addresses, in 2021. According to the report, 65% of the regime's stolen funds were routed through mixers, up from 42% in 2020. According to the researchers, it demonstrates an increasingly cautious cash-out strategy. The report also emphasizes the regime's reliance on decentralized finance, or DeFi, platforms because they do not take custody of user funds, and many do not collect Know Your Customer information, meaning that cybercriminals can use these platforms without having their assets frozen or their identities exposed. We've seen explosive growth in the DeFi ecosystem over the last 2 years, as well as these actors hacking DeFi platforms and leveraging them for money laundering. I expect that trend to continue into 2022, and it's a warning to new platforms to invest in security early, Chainalysis Plant tells ISMG. Unlaundered funds. The firm also discovered $170 million in unlaundered North Korean balances linked to 49 hacks between 2017 and 2021. In 2020 and 2021, $35 million is attributed to attacks, while $55 million is attributed to attacks in 2016. This suggests that DPRK-linked hackers aren't always quick to move stolen cryptocurrencies through the laundering process, the Chainalysis researchers write. It's unclear why the hackers would still be sitting on these funds, but it's possible they're hoping law enforcement interest in the cases will die down so they can cash out without being watched. According to the researchers, in the final stages of the regime-linked hacks, the threat actors moved obfuscated Bitcoin to Asian exchanges, where it was then exchanged for fiat currency, such as China's renminbi. According to the researchers, these actions paint a portrait of a nation that supports cryptocurrency-enabled crime on a massive scale. Systematic and sophisticated, North Korea's government has established itself as an advanced persistent threat to the cryptocurrency industry. Strengthening security. According to some security experts, the hackers' Ethereum-based campaigns are unquestionably concerning. It's interesting that North Korea and other nation-state cybercriminals are focusing on tokens based on Ethereum, Carl Steinkamp, Director of Delivery Digital Transformation and Automation at Coalfire, tells ISMG. This path has been and continues to be fraught with cybersecurity vulnerabilities in one or more components of the token's smart contracts, which are being exploited to rapidly empty individual and admin digital wallets. I expect this trend to continue until the Ethereum-based tokens market takes the deliberate step of building more proactive security into each of the products. Crypto platform providers must ensure that their employees are protected and do not become conduits for cybercriminals to make their way into the infrastructure, says Hank Schless, Senior Manager of Security Solutions at Lookout. Employees are constantly targeted by mobile phishing and other attacks that would give a cybercriminal access to the company's infrastructure. Blue Gnaw off. The new data on Lazarus Group and other RGP-related activity comes on the heels of another warning from cybersecurity and antivirus firm Kaspersky, which said this week that the North Korean-backed gang Blue Gnaw off is now targeting small and mid-sized cryptocurrency startups in a campaign called Snatch Crypto. See, North Korean APTs target cryptocurrency startups. According to Kaspersky, the gang has ties to the Lazarus Group and has been tracked impersonating phony crypto-related companies or major venture capital firms to spear-phish crypto platforms and then breach their networks to seize crypto assets. Five best crypto games to look out for in January 2022. The adoption rate of blockchain technology is increasing, as evidenced by recent trends. The NFT sector exploded in 2021, primarily focusing on digitizing art and in-game items and offering them on a variety of markets at both low and high prices. The metaverse emerged as the new big trend near the end of the year, offering entire virtual worlds brimming with content and ripe for exploration. With the metaverse and NFTs usually going hand in hand, the two provided a perfect opportunity for the gaming industry to begin developing on a blockchain, and there are plenty of projects that recognized and took advantage of this opportunity. There are many blockchain games to choose from these days, and we have compiled a list of our top 5 favorite crypto games to watch in January 2022. 1. Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity, AXS, is the largest and most popular blockchain game at the moment, involving a metaverse, NFTs, GameFi, and other features. The game was inspired by Pokémon, and it revolves around you, the player, exploring its world, training your monsters, and using them in battle to defeat your opponents and earn rewards. Because all monsters are in the form of NFTs, you can buy or sell them on any of the crypto industry's marketplaces. They are yours once you introduce them to the game, and they will remain yours for as long as you own the NFT to which they are linked. Monsters can also be upgraded with new body parts from the game's collection of over 500, which includes aquatic and bird-type beasts, as well as reptiles, bugs, and other creatures. You can even breed your monsters, allowing you to create new NFTs that you can either sell or keep. And, as previously stated, when you win battles, you receive AXS rewards, which you can cash out, use to buy more NFTs, stake, or hodl. 2. My Neighbor, Alice. The following game is My Neighbor Alice, which was inspired by a popular game called Animal Crossing. My Neighbor Alice, on the other hand, is a multiplayer builder game based on blockchain technology that provides a metaverse where users can buy and own virtual islands. They can gather materials and construct various items on the islands. The game is also a fun way to meet new players and make friends, and it combines a fun gameplay experience with a high earning potential. So, how do you make money with My Neighbor Alice? Simple. Your goal is to collect and trade NFTs while also using the game's native token Alice to buy assets, invest in skill sets, and even participate in project governance via a DAO by voting on proposals or submitting your own. 3. Illuvium. Moving on, Illuvium, ILV, is an open-world fantasy battle game that is widely regarded as the first AAA title to appear on Ethereum's blockchain. The game is a great source of entertainment for gamers and DeFi fans looking for new challenges, as it allows users to enter the world of Illuvium, which is inhabited by creatures known as Illuvials. Players can capture these creatures by defeating them in battle, then nurse them back to health, train them, and use them to win future battles. The game incorporates elements of both open-world exploration and PvP games. You can explore the metaverse's landscape, fight existing creatures, defeat other players, take part in quests and daily challenges, and even contribute to the communal storyline. The creatures themselves have different classes: Guardian, Rogue, Fighter, Empath, and Scion, as well as different affinities: air, fire, water, earth, nature. Class and affinity are by far the most important characteristics, but there are some others that determine how powerful the creatures truly are in battle, such as attack damage, speed, savagery, and so on. Overall, it's a popular and promising game that you should definitely check out, if not for the NFTs, then for the overall gaming experience. 4. UFO gaming. As we near the end of the list, we recommend checking out UFO gaming. This is an intriguing project that, as a fully decentralized intergalactic social gaming token, is likely to attract a large number of sci-fi fans in the crypto industry. The project employs the popular play-to-earn model in blockchain gaming, which allows you to earn assets that you can exchange for or use as regular, everyday money. It, like most other metaverses, makes use of NFTs to provide users with virtual land. Aside from that, the UFO token will be required for the majority of tasks. According to the project's website, it provides one planet, one game, an ever-expanding ecosystem of earn-to-play games. The project will essentially collaborate with traditional gaming companies to integrate them onto the blockchain and develop new blockchain gaming features. Each game will have its own governing planet, and the project will hold virtual land auctions where you can buy your own piece of land on the planet, earn revenue from the game by completing specific tasks, and, in the future, even use your land to build infrastructure for that planet, such as virtual NFT stores, collection galleries, and more. This is a massive project in the works that has the potential to be extremely large, especially given that the gaming industry is very interested in moving to blockchain and utilizing its benefits to the benefit of itself and its players. 5. Alien Worlds. Finally, there's Alien Worlds. This is a decentralized, NFT-based metaverse in which players are expected to compete for resources, particularly Trillium, TLM, and take part in a simulated economy centered on planetary worlds. This adds a DeFi element to the game and raises the level of competition. Alien Worlds allows you, the player, or explorer, as the game refers to you, to earn rewards by participating in planet DAOs and playing the game. In Alien Worlds, you can mine for rewards using the in-game currency TLM or NFT packs. TLM can also be used for staking, so you can earn some passive income while you're at it. The most intriguing aspect of Alien Worlds, however, is that it allows you to participate in an entire universe, hopping from planet to planet, with each planet acting as its own DAO. You can make proposals, vote on others' proposals, and even become a community leader for one or more planets. It is a very interesting project that opens up a lot of new opportunities, even when it comes to a larger metaverse trend, because there is no other game like this one in the world, blockchain or not. With that said, give it a look, and you might just discover your new favorite project in the process. Conclusion. Blockchain gaming is advancing quickly, and it won't be long before the blockchain industry can offer games of all genres, shapes, and sizes, from indie games to AAA titles. Even established gaming companies, such as Square Enix, are delving into the metaverse, NFT, and blockchain to pursue this type of gaming, and they will not be the last. Everything is in place for the blockchain gaming sector to take off, and those who are among the first to do so will benefit the most. Dirty money and cryptocurrency: how the thriving cryptocurrency market can be exploited. According to cybercrime experts, as the legitimate use of digital currencies grows, so does the abuse. When cops apprehended scammer Evan Leslie McMahon in March 2019, they discovered much more than just the bootleg Netflix logins that allowed his clients to watch The Witcher on the cheap. The hacker in his early 20s also had 9 electronic wallets containing an alphabet soup of cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Digibyte, XRP, Stratis, Bitcoin Gold, and Litecoin, that he purchased with the proceeds of his crimes. McMahon avoided jail when he was sentenced in April last year for providing a circumvention service and dealing with the proceeds of crime, receiving an intensive correction order that allowed him to serve his 2.5-month sentence in the community. What does it mean for you that Australian banks are becoming more open to cryptocurrency? However, he forfeited the cryptocurrency, which was initially worth $460,000, but had risen to an estimated value of $1.2 million by the time of his sentencing, making it the largest stash of tokens seized by the Commonwealth to date. According to court documents, McMahon used 175 PayPal accounts with aliases such as Zach Kentish, Isabella Shergren, and Samuel Binns to collect fees from customers of his websites, Hypergen, WickedGen, Autoflix, and AccountBot. According to federal authorities, he then converted some of the proceeds into cryptocurrency. PayPal declined to comment when asked how McMahon managed to open 175 accounts with the company and what this said about its anti-money laundering systems. "We devote significant resources to identifying, investigating, and stopping improper or potentially illegal activity on PayPal," a spokesman said. Seizures of cryptocurrency are increasing. According to Ostrich, the criminal use of cryptocurrency is no longer limited to online scammers like McMahon, who ran a series of websites selling logins to Netflix, Spotify, and other subscription sites that he bootlegged using software that automatically generated the keys. As legitimate use of cryptocurrency increases, we're seeing a sort of comparable increase in abuse, says Michael Tink, Ostrich's National Manager of Intelligence Operations, who oversees teams focused on cybercrime, national security, and money laundering. For example, where a crime group might have previously sent money offshore using the banking sector or a remittance dealer, in some cases, not many, we might see them trying to deposit criminal proceeds through a digital currency exchange provider and send money to a counterpart offshore using cryptocurrency itself, he says. Tink is quick to point out that using cryptocurrency to launder the proceeds of crime is still fairly niche, but it is growing. While the seizure of McMahon's wallets was the largest crypto bust in Australia at the time, larger amounts have since been frozen by regulators investigating possible fraud. The Australian Securities and Investments Commission obtained federal court orders in October last year freezing Bitcoin estimated to be worth between $7 million and $22 million that were allegedly related to what the corporate watchdog claims was an unlicensed superannuation investment scheme run by Gold Coast couple Aaron Haller and Heidi Walters. In court documents, ASIC claimed that at least $2.4 million in investor funds had been used to buy crypto assets. ASIC's investigation is ongoing, and no charges have been filed. Large amounts of cryptocurrency have also been seized by law enforcement agencies in other countries. The US FBI seized 3,879 bitcoins last month, claiming in documents filed in the American federal court system that they are the proceeds of a $216 million fraud perpetrated against insurance company Sony Life by employee Ray Ishii. Ishii has been charged with fraud in Japan and has yet to stand trial. Authorities allege Bitcoin was used to launder ill-gotten gains in another crypto seizure case before US courts involving 9.881 Bitcoin, approximately $590,000. Between May 2019 and February 2021, suspected money launderer Fernando Berrocol, a perfume industry businessman, picked up $2.3 million $3.2 million in bulk cash from locations both inside and outside the US, according to an affidavit filed in forfeiture proceedings in the federal court system by a Homeland Security agent. In the affidavit, Homeland Security agent James Barden stated that the money was made up of $1 million in illegal gambling proceeds and $1.3 million in narcotics proceeds. Furthermore, bank accounts owned or controlled by Berrocol received $1,789,628.40 in proceeds generated by various financial frauds, many targeting elderly U.S. residents, according to Barden. He accused Berrocol of having multiple commercial and personal bank accounts and shell companies in the United States and elsewhere, as well as multiple virtual currency accounts and/or Bitcoin addresses that were used to launder dirty money. Berrocol conducted numerous financial transactions, many involving virtual currency, specifically Bitcoin, to launder and transfer criminally derived proceeds from the United States to individuals and organizations outside the United States, Barden said. According to the agent, Berrocol admitted that the Bitcoin was the proceeds of his criminal activity during a consensual interview with law enforcement in March of last year. No charges have been filed, and the investigation is still ongoing. The regulators are keeping an eye on things. Last year, cryptocurrency had another moment in the spotlight, with the Commonwealth Bank announcing it would allow customers to buy, hold, and transfer tokens through its app, ads for trading platforms dominating bus stops, and the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, talking about bringing exchanges, which are prone to collapsing, into Australia's regulatory system. But skeptics believe the hype hides a terrible truth: cryptocurrencies are fantastic for speculators but, despite numerous attempts, aren't much use as a means of exchange unless you're buying something you shouldn't be. Paying for things the government doesn't want you to buy was the first actual payment use case for cryptos, the Silk Road drug market, and it's still about the only one, says David Gerard, author of 2 books on cryptocurrencies and a keen and critical observer of the sector. People only use crypto for payments when they can't use good money for some reason, so they use this stuff instead. This has morphed into large-scale ransomware. Ransomware existed prior to crypto, but not on this scale. That's entirely due to cryptos. Meanwhile, dirty money from crime continues to flow into a crypto ecosystem fueled by speculative investment, which has driven the price of Bitcoin up from a few $100s in 2015 to close to $60,000 today, despite frequent crashes. The crypto system is not technically a Ponzi scheme, it just works like one, Gerard explains. Early buyers can only be compensated with money from later buyers. The entire goal is to sell magic beans to people for real money and persuade them that these objects are the future of anything other than being skinned. How Australia's far right uses cryptocurrencies to monetize hatred online. The general answer is, there is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme. Magic does not occur, and if there is ever one weird trick, it is one weird trick for picking your pocket. Austruck has little insight into what is going on in this thriving market. Currently, exchanges that register with it are only required to report suspicious or large movements of cash into their coffers or payments out, not crypto transfers between market participants. Tink, on the other hand, claims that the notion that transactions on the blockchain, the distributed ledger that records crypto transactions, are completely anonymous is incorrect. Our analysts also have access to other open-source commercially available and more classified tools and data sets that help them track transactions as they occur through the blockchain and also link that to other data and criminal intelligence holdings, Tink says. He points out that one advantage of the blockchain technology that underpins cryptocurrencies is that the data is publicly available. You may not always know who is behind a specific coin address, but it allows you to track transactions through other data sets. It enables analysts to investigate attributing wallet addresses to real-world people. We hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this video. Please let us know your opinion in the comments area below. If you found our content useful, please like it and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more crypto-related contents.